now. It's 20 seconds early, but I really want to just hear how it's going to sound on here. Oh man. Let's record that. You should be live. Can you hear me? I'm pretty freaking quiet. Are you? I'm really quiet. I think like my volume on this is
Not distorted.
and it's not distorted, it's just quiet. Let's hear what your volume sounds like.
Well, testing 1, 2.
Hey Tim, good to see you. We're just trying to figure out this audio so we're good for the next month. So I got Jeff here with me. Sorry. I'll get away.
Hey Tim, how's your volume over there? How are we coming through there?
We're still playing this game. How can you hear me now? It's like that old commercial. Who was that?
The Verizon.
It was the Verizon commercial?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Good.
Good. Yeah, we're still playing that game. Going to be a new tagline for the food boat. Can you hear me now? Oddly enough, we're not worried about how things smell, taste, or look. We're more concerned, can you hear me?
No video.
No video, huh? It's because Dum Dum here didn't turn on the
Reception.
Receiver.
receiver. That is totally my fault. And screen. We get now?
Not yet, but
There's the latency.
yeah.
It should be transmitting now. Yep, we're good. Let me switch to camera 1 and camera 2 angles just to see how with this white screen if it's still coming in good. Is it all pixelated and distorted on the pictures, or is it coming in clear?
Yeah, here comes that pixelation.
Is it? Well,
That's just buffering. I think that's just buffering.
that's just buffering. All right, y'all. So let's before we start this stream, wanted to show you something. Wanted to show you. It is the 4th of July weekend, and safety should be your main concern this weekend. Being safe on the water or anywhere you're at. And I did go buy some new flares because I came up earlier today and opened this box up to inspect my flares because it tells you to check your flares every season. And it doesn't really matter if I look at the date because look at the condition of these flares. So, they are nice and squishy, and I don't think that's what flares are supposed to be like. So let's go ahead and remove those from the box. Put these nice new flares in there. I don't know why the refill pack only has 3 when the original pack had 4, but we'll leave that at that. So we got this squared away, and then Heath is the first aid kit right there. Toss me that. You just toss it. Went ahead and got first aid kit, a new version because it's the one I dove into before. And if I'm gonna be out here, I definitely need the first aid kit. So I've got my flares, got my first aid kit, PDFs, throwable, all that here. So I figured, with it being 4th of July weekend, my audio is dropping. I hear that. So these Ceramonic mics just ain't shit. Huh.
Here you go. You want mine?
Unplug it right here. And then you can just pull it
Oh,
out.
you're right, though. I could have done that. I could have and should have done that. Am I muted then? Am I on or no? Okay. So sorry about that. I got Jeff here. We'll introduce Jeff in a second. Jeff is helping me get this audio squared away. And apparently the Ceramonics aren't what I need. I used them. They were okay in the beginning when I was using the camera, doing all that stuff. But am I transmitting?
Transmitting with quiet. I'm in freezing.
Okay. So it's just a matter of getting everything dialed in. Can't go anywhere. Let me show you the tide. We are fresh out of the water. So let me bring you in here and show you Jeff. Jeff's trying to get everything squared away. Say hey, Jeff. Hey, guys. And then, oh, by the way, we are doing 31 days in July. So we are July 1st. Finding a camera is very difficult. I don't know if it's because of the cancel culture or what. Finding a calendar. I found a generic calendar that was a Charleston calendar. It was 2024 calendar because we're halfway through 23. I guess people change it. Anything else is hard to find, so I just went down to the local Hooters and bought a calendar. So we are. You think this stuff would burn? It ain't gonna work. You think it would burn?
With enough fire, everything burns.
With enough fire, everything burns?
Yes.
That voice was the voice of my. It was the voice of Heath Robinson.
I think you're muted, and we're picking it up on him.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone done?
Here, let me just do it again. Is it?
There you are.
I'm here now.
Up and loud and proud. Hold on.
So let's see if this burns. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. It was just on mute, so we were hearing it through his. That's really gone.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Who's on the stream? Let me just see that.
Tim, I know is helping us.
We got Tim and Brandon. Is it just the two of you, Baron?
Tim,
Bearing
we
witness
should
to
be
this.
getting close.
Oh, we got a bunch.
Let us know how it is, if it's more stable now, Tim.
Yeah, so let's see if this burns. Oh, it lit. Barely. He's moving.
I'm not sure what that thing's gonna do.
I'm not sure what it's gonna do either. Let it burn over there.
Still work.
It's burning. Let me perhaps get y'all on a better camera that has more zoom. Let's go to camera 1 and get y'all a chance to see this. I know this is just me being stupid, but most of the time that's why all of y'all are here, is to check out how dumb I'm going to be today. So it's burning. It hasn't hit the part yet where it's busting at the seams. So I'm kind of curious what it's going to do there. It's picking up some steam now. Fire the camera guy. I'm sorry, I'm not really keeping it centered on this thing. Camera guy never dies though, right? Is that why you moved, Heath?
Yes.
You should have just put a camera in your hand and you've been safe. So we are. So those flares would have still worked. You just would have needed to use a butane torch to light them. I don't think it's burning as bright as you would want it to burn either, though. Oh, fire the camera guy again. All right. Well, it didn't blow up, Heath. It didn't blow up on us.
Well, you know, that's how you kick off the Fourth.
Fireworks. Yes, yes, indeed. Can you maybe pop it back over to hit 3?
Gotcha.
So it lit with a little bit of extra convincing. Still got 10 and 10. Hopefully we keep that all weekend. So what are we going to do today? I think we're figuring out audio. I think Jeff has it dialed in pretty good now. So
Ask him if the volume's loud. I think it is.
is the volume loud enough on y'all's end? Is it coming in good? Can I get louder? And does it not distort? That's the big thing. Like, can I get the energy level up? Can I get a little louder and not distort? Because that's been an issue that we've been having. But for right now, we're gonna call this other gentleman out here. Come on, Heath. Say hello to the camera.
Hi.
All right, so Heath, who was hiding behind the camera when I lit that, was also the one that moved because he didn't know what it was going to do. It's usually the one I call up when I got like crazy engineering questions. And he wanted me to make sure that I tell you that just because we're doing this on the whiteboard today doesn't mean it's actually going to work, but he's going to do what he does with me in the early stages of planning. And he's going to tell me everything as to what may not work, right?
Yeah.
What's too stupid or too risky. And what do you usually tell me other than that?
You just try to keep you within the bounds of reality, I would say. So let's keep it realistic, but first let's see your idea before we say no and just poo-poo it all together.
All right, so let me get the camera to where they can see. I hope you can see this fine. So what we have is we've got a marker that doesn't want to write. Looks like green it is. So what we have is a boat, right? And dry erasers that don't want to write. You know why these things don't want to write?
Why?
It's typically your kids that fuck with them.
Yeah, that's probably it.
This thing resides downstairs in an office. So we got a little shitty boat here that it's a pontoon boat.
Yeah.
And you got the water line on a pontoon, right? Well, what we want to do is instead of putting spuds to keep it in place, we want to do jack up spuds. So the spuds go down and they lift the boat out. So it's essentially a reverse boat lift, but it's like with the boat at all times. So it's going to get it to where the water line is no longer right there, but it's down here. Does that make sense?
It does. How deep a water do you find it in?
So the answer to that question was about waist deep water to chest deep water.
Okay.
I know my waist deep versus your waist deep is a little
It's a bit
different.
different, about a foot difference.
But yeah, so that is the question. Now I do know from like dock boat.
Yeah.
You know, you got different boat lifts. You got one that's a cable wound up like the Spuds back here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you got another one like the one we installed that was a ram that had a pulley system, right? And it would pull the cables in, and the ram came in and pushed the cables out. So
Right.
I seem to think that hydraulics would be the better way of doing this.
Yeah, because you're going to need a lot of force, especially taking it out. That's going to be the bigger concern. Is not the lifting it up, it's the taking it out, especially if it's going to be in pluff mud. Because once you start sinking these down, they're going to embed pretty
So it's
deep.
Florida.
Okay,
So it's going to be sand and coral.
sand and coral. So what you'll do is just make sure that these are wide enough. I'd say at least 6 to 8 inches in diameter, with a solid cap plate at the bottom.
6 to 8 inches diameter with cap at bottom.
Yeah, you don't want to accidentally make it into a pile where you're driving it into the ground substantially. You just want to keep it so that you can get a good footprint in the sand, whatever your substrate is, so that you can start jacking that boat up before you run out of post.
Okay, so the other question I guess is what kind of material can the Spuds be? Can they be aluminum?
I think you're going to want them to be aluminum. That way you can have most of your jack, whatever your force is that's lowering it or jacking it down and raising it back up, that it has to fight less the weight of the actual material. So
Yeah, because like my Spuds, how they're like 700 pounds.
Yeah,
You don't want to do that.
but they don't need help going down. They just go down on their own. You just need to go down and then have something that actively pushes it down, like your hydraulic system that you're talking about. So I would say some kind of marine grade treated aluminum, and they have that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the 6066, right?
Yeah,
6066 aluminum.
Yeah.
I spelled that wrong. I said it the British way and I still spelled it wrong. So let me see if I can get somebody on the phone or on the stream here to ask the questions that he wants to ask. Let's see if he's going to answer.
Hey,
Hey,
bro, wait. I'm filming the chit show. Listen to me. Listen to me closely.
okay.
I'm filming the chit show. A truck just went under right now, and Fred the Croc knows that there's going to be a police officer to be in the water.
No kidding.
Go ahead, go upstairs. No, listen, no chit. We both on YouTube, guys. I'm talking to Derek. Absolutely crazy. Derek, bro, this boat ramp is insane, dude.
So did the truck go under with the boat on the trailer, or it already left the boat?
Bro, listen. I was stalking Fred, so I ran to the other side.
Yeah.
And while I ran to the other side, I left the camera here, and I told Daniel to just kind of stay here and operate the camera.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a microphone or nothing. Hold on a second. This guy over here was talking smack earlier. So long story short, the truck went under, but I was actually looking at Fred because there was 2 kayakers, 2 young kids, that I told them, don't come over here because the Croc was around, you know?
Yeah.
And sure enough, I saved these kids' life. Because literally, they went to go hang out at Fred's favorite spot, which is the fillet table.
Yeah. On kayaks.
Yeah, so are you go live over there in Charleston on the sandbar?
I'm not at the sandbar. I'm still at the dock. We got the audio dialed in. You're on the phone right now. They can hear you chatting. I got my friend Heath here, the engineer, and I got Jeff here, the sound engineer. So Heath and I were going over some of these
Okay.
questions you asked me yesterday, but we'll bother you another
Okay.
time.
Well, listen, I'm gonna finish filming here because there's obviously a lot going on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tell your subscribers to wait for this video. It's gonna be crazy. Fred the Croc has made an appearance at the worst possible time, guys.
Well-
I'll tell you later.
Well, it's bad for you, but it's great for him.
No, listen. This is scary, dude.
Yeah,
There's so much going on in this program right now, dude. It's wild.
yeah.
And the boat is still hooked up, and now everybody's scared to unhook the boat because the crocodile's in the water.
Yeah, they need a machete. It's just a strap, right?
I honestly, bro, I'm still trying to gauge what's going on here, Derek. Hey guys, check out Derek from the Food Boat on YouTube. Derek, I gotta go.
Yeah, man. All right, bye.
Look, I'm getting distracted. I'll
Okay.
talk to you later.
All right, bye. Well, so much for that. That was the plan for some of this, was to be able to let Alfred ask Heath some questions as we work through this problem, because this problem is not a me problem. I'm not making a jack-up barge. I got a lot of issues that I got to sort out with this barge before I even start figuring out how to do a jack-up barge. And this barge wouldn't be a good jack-up barge, would it?
No, this would be way too heavy. Yeah, I don't see it possible, especially with plus money.
Yeah.
I mean, with enough money, everything's possible. But I don't see this as being possible.
He's hiding out in the
Reasonably.
He's hiding out in the corner when he's sitting there telling me, bursting my bubble.
But for a pontoon boat, this is doable because
Yeah.
it's not that heavy.
Yeah, this thing we're talking like 1,500 pounds or so.
Minimum wall thickness on this aluminum, I wouldn't go anything less than a quarter inch or 3/8. I don't know the common gauge, but you're going to want it to stay pretty stout so it doesn't accidentally cripple or buckle.
So we'll say 3/8.
Yeah.
I need to run.
All right, Jeff. Let's let Jeff.
I found some other things.
Okay.
Your settings on there that I adjusted.
Yeah.
So we're actually doing some additional signal processing. They can't hear me very well.
Well, I think they're hearing you. So,
So
picking you up.
probably a little bit. So just so you know, so I did a compressor and limiter, and what that does is it compresses your signal so that your quietest part of your audio and your loudest part of the audio will get compressed and closer.
okay.
It reduces your dynamics. So I found that we're actually doing some of that now, so it should be a lot more even now. A
Okay.
lot more even. I'm going to show you this really quick, but to explain to you, people spend years trying to figure it out. Trust me, I doubt it, and don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, don't touch it. But I'll show you where it is.
He. If you tell me don't touch it, do I? What do I do?
Usually he touches it. Usually he'll touch it. He's gonna touch it.
There's your compressor right here. And you
Okay.
can see when it's loud, what it's doing is that's how much it's turning it down. So think of it as your fader right here.
Okay.
It's AI essentially, and it's just automatically adjusting the volume level. So you see the gain reduction when you get real loud. See how it knocks it down?
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
So but this is going to keep the volume. Oh yeah, I guess that could be complicated. So but it's going to keep your volume more even.
Okay.
And I'm doing it in multiple places. I'm doing it there on your individual mic, but I'm also doing it over here. And I didn't even know this was existing here. So mic 2, if you wanted to do it, you'd click on it and see it's not on yet. So you would adjust your threshold here. Still don't think it's on. Oh, on. There you go.
Okay. So I click on. Go back again.
Compressor.
Yeah. How do I get to that screen?
So it's right here under dynamics.
Yeah. And I just click on that screen,
Yeah.
and then I turn the compressor on.
And what you would want to do is just copy my settings here. I got compressor and limiter there. I'm not using the expander gate. Don't do it.
Okay.
And then you got an EQ section too. So this works like your stereo. So if you need more high frequencies, I rolled off a little of the bass right here.
Yeah.
So, but you're good.
He said.
You got a real deal situation happening now.
He says I'm good, but I understood absolutely none of that.
Tim,
So-
how's it sound over there? He said that was from a while ago.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do is keep the balance of the soft and the loud a little more even.
Okay.
And that's what we're doing, just so that there's less of a shift.
Yeah, he said could go louder back in.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, about 12 minutes ago.
Yeah, that made a lot of adjustments since then.
Okay.
You should be good.
Well, high five.
So we did something.
All right.
All right, I got to run. I got people shut up in the house in 15 minutes.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jeff.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Everyone say goodbye to Jeff. Thanks for coming out and help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming around and help.
Flip. Good luck.
Thank you. I'm not entirely sure how clear some of this writing is coming across. Doesn't look like it's coming in clear at all. So
It's coming in.
it's coming in.
Yeah, it's enough.
We'll go to camera 1 again real quick. Let me grab a battery. We got to do a quick reload on that battery before it runs out. So Heath came out and cooked paella on the boat, but I didn't do a live stream of that. And I've been slack, and I haven't edited that either. And Begonia, old Mama Bear, is probably upset that she don't have an edited version of her son cooking paella.
Oh, she actually remembered that?
Huh?
She actually,
I was just gonna leave it at that. You said it, not me. No, she hadn't given me any grief about it yet. But
gotcha. So what more are we going to try and figure out for Alfred here?
how do you get it? The big problem is the mechanics of it going up or down, right? So we don't need that.
Okay, hold it. Hold it.
So we the big thing, I guess, are the mechanics to get it to go down, right?
Yeah, both, because it's still going to embed. So you're still going to have a bit of suction you're going to have to overcome. It's
Yeah.
basically going to be like driving a micro pile every time you attempt to do this, especially if you leave it in place for an extended period of time, like for
Okay.
a week. So,
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be like me. I don't think he's going to leave it anywhere. Like it's
Okay, good.
probably for the day,
Yeah.
and then he comes back. So it's not going to get that suction that.
got it. So what you'll need is some kind of sleeve similar to your spuds, and what's probably the most ideal, and I don't know what's out there, so I can
Okay.
kind of do some research in terms of the hydraulics, but what you'll need is, so if this is your spud, that's tube. Okay, so ideally what you're going to want to do is make sure that it would be best if you actually had some kind of system where you could prevent it from rotating too much. That way you could have some kind of some kind of grooving all around it, and maybe it's basically spiraled so that you have in here it would be, I'm not sure if such a thing exists, but some kind of device that can be driven by motor to roll it up and roll it down and kind of grip it and roll it up, roll it down, maybe multiples of these.
So that's the best solution.
That's what I think would be the most strength. The other one would just be, I'm not sure what kind of hydraulics would work. Have you seen hydraulic driven spuds before? Is that something you've seen?
I've never had a jack-up barge before, so this is completely.
Yeah, a lot of this would really rely on seeing what's
I know, like
what's
the
out
oil
there.
industry does jack-up
Yeah.
barges.
So that would be the best thing, and I'm kind of coming to this cold, so I'm not sure what exists out there. But the cabling system's not gonna work very well. You're not gonna be dependent on gravity because it's just not gonna catch it. And
With the cabling system,
hydraulics might be the most compact, but probably the most expensive.
the only thing I can think on the cabling system is sorry guys, is if at the top of the spud you had the pulley, right?
Mhm.
So you had a point here and a point there. So as it took out cable, it forces that down, right?
Yeah, but how would you get it back up?
I haven't figured that part out yet.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe you do 2 jacks.
Yeah, I mean that.
If
that,
you do 2 rams,
that may be fine. There's a ram to drive it down, and then a jack to pick it back up.
mm-hmm. Because if you do that, as it puts tension on, it's basically just pushing it
Yeah.
down.
Mhm.
Is it gonna flex? I know the answer is yes, but how much? What do you do for the deflection? In that pole.
This is cable though, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to stretch that much at all.
I'm talking about the pile. Is it going to put point pressure right here?
Yeah, that's why you need this like a longer sleeve. I would say at least 3 to 4 feet of it, and especially if you drive it the same way you've seen in some of the spuds where you've got your pontoon boat, very crudely drawn there, obviously. Okay, if the spud is attached on the side and it kind of comes up, maybe not, maybe just down to here, level with the water or level with the water line.
Yeah.
And attached in there real secure with angle iron, and one in the back, of course. With angle iron, then you can have this about 4 to 5 feet. That might be enough to prevent it from deflecting too much. And you're not going to be coming down this way too far, especially if it's going to be waist deep water. I mean, we're talking 6 feet below that, maybe 10 feet below that.
Yeah.
So as long as you've got about a third of that distance covered, you should be good for any kind of bending in the lateral direction.
And realistically, with it being aluminum, you could use the ram strength to push it down.
Yeah.
And as you take pressure off, as you let the jack back out, the ram back out, to lower you to the water line, you can go slack, can't you? And then with it being an aluminum, those things are going to be pretty light. You can probably raise them by hand.
Oh, I don't know if by hand, especially if it digs in the ground, is what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
If we aren't concerned about that at all, like we always expect it to embed only just a little bit.
Yeah.
If we can always expect that, then yeah, you might be able to pick it up by hand. But I think even then, even with it being aluminum, it's still going to weigh over 100 pounds. I mean, especially if it's 3/8 inch gauge.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
still going to be kind of heavy.
Okay.
That's about the best I can think of now. We'd have to do some market research first.
And then I guess the other question is, so if it's bird's eye view, you're at 7.5, I think it's 15.6.
Mhm.
Is that a stable enough platform if you put 4 spuds in?
In what way? Like, I mean, I would say so.
They're saying they can't see the green.
No.
The only markers I've got other than these freaking green is a permanent.
Mhm.
Give me 1 second, y'all, to figure out a solution then. If you can't see the green, I'm sorry. Only thing I've got are permanent markers then. So let me...
What are you trying to do?
I was just going to put this up on the whiteboard. If they can't see it. And no, I'm not using this to put food on. I know it's not food grade.
So, never crossed my mind.
You'll hold that in. Oh,
Yeah.
And then I'll find tape. That should be good. Give me a sec, y'all. Sorry about that. Thanks, Brandon, for the text to tell me you couldn't see it. That's good enough. That'll do, and then we'll get a permanent marker. All right. So now we got so just to bring y'all up to speed, what we were talking about was putting a spud with a pulley at the top and then like an anchor point here and an anchor point there. And that cable that you run over top of it, as you pull the cable out, that'll push the spud down. So hopefully y'all can see that now. And Heath has assured me, because I mean, my main concern with stuff like this is going to be deflection. Is this freaking spud going to banana in there? And as long as we put a big enough jacket here, it's not going to banana to where it's an issue.
Yeah, not with 3/8 inch.
Not with 3/8 inch.
No, that's mainly why I said 3/8 inch.
So it's 3/8.
Well, yeah.
3/8 aluminum. It needs to be 6066 marine. And it needs to be, you said 8 inches? 8-inch diameter?
Yes, the wider the better.
Yeah. Yeah, so like, I think the spud wells here, originally, these spud wells here, those are 8-inch spud wells. So just to give you a perspective of what we're looking at here. So those are 8-inch. The spuds on them are smaller, but that's because I'm running the cable in there and I need to allow to have some slop to let that cable run through. So the biggest problem then is that gets the spud down. So now the problem is how to get the spud up, right?
Yes.
And if it's external spuds, one of the beautiful things about an external spud well, which is most likely what you're going to do on a pontoon, is you got the side of the vessel, right? And you've got the pontoon here. So Heath is saying to go ahead. I don't know how well y'all see that, so let's maybe bring in a little tighter on it. So he's saying to put the spud well at least that length, correct?
You want it to be at least 1/3 of the length of your spud.
Oh, so 1/3 length of spud. Okay,
so it's going to be about 5 to 6, maybe we'll say that 10 feet underwater. Does that sound about right, or is
the spud.
that a bit too much?
I would imagine no more than 10, right? I would imagine no more than 10 feet.
Yes. So if you're really going for waist deep, then a 10-foot spud, that'll still give you some extra so you don't accidentally have run it out, and gives you more power to push down if there's any kind of embedment into the sand.
Yeah.
So I think I'd say if this was 4 feet long, 4 feet to 3 feet, and I think that, or 4 feet to 5 feet, and I think that's pretty achievable, especially if it can come up over the edge of the railing. That's not
Yeah. This you mean, or
Yes.
the spud?
No, the sleeve.
The sleeve.
Yeah, so the sleeve, make the spud 15 feet long, and then the sleeve about 5 feet long.
Okay.
Now it seems like a lot, but if you have a concern about it, trying to
I mean,
bend,
it's not really a lot because, like,
Yeah,
to put it again in perspective, y'all, the spuds here protrude out past the deck, and I mean, Heath, those
Yeah.
are 36 inches. Those ones.
Yeah.
These back here that we actually have back there, I mean, you look, that protrudes up another 3 feet past the deck.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a 6-foot sleeve or spud well on this barge alone. So I don't think you're asking too much when you say that. You know. And it's, again, if it's what needs to happen, and that's why we call Heath out here for shit like that, is because if this is what needs to happen, this is what happens. What you looking for?
I was seeing what you were looking at.
I'm just making sure we're on. I put it on camera 1 for a second. Yeah, and then Tim's asking, why not 2 inches? And I think that's what I was about to get to, Tim, is the beautiful thing about the barge, the sleeve being on the outside, is that you can run this external side a cable it'll pull up, because plenty of the other dock builders that do smaller rigs with external rigs pull it up that way, because you're only going to pull it up to that hits the bottom.
Yeah, you
Of
just want
that
to get it out
spud
of the
well.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could literally run, and that one I would run a winch.
Yeah, that'd be easy.
I mean, the hydraulic ram, because you could achieve this with a winch.
Mhm.
I think it's just, one, it's slow.
And also you have more moving pieces.
Huh?
You'll have more moving pieces.
Right. I think you can definitely achieve that with a ram versus the other one. And the other one you can do with a winch. And I know, coming up, you don't want it to be slow. But again, you're only really, when you pull it up, you're letting this out. And that theoretically will at least lower this back to the water line.
Yes.
And then if you pull out more, this will go slack. And when that goes slack is when you need to start applying upward pressure from the winch to free that spud and bring it up.
Yep. I agree with all that.
So it needs 4 points of pickup, right? And what do we call that, driving? I mean, you are essentially driving it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing you need is pins, right? So it's going to need a
You got
pin.
to pin it in place so you can relax
Yeah.
the motor.
When you get it up, you pin it, and then you're good. Are there any other major concerns that you see as the engineering type with that 1,000-pound brain in your head?
1,000 pounds, that's a lot of pounds. No, I don't see any other issues. What's your thoughts on it, on actually attaching it? Because if it's a pontoon, that means this is a fiberglass rail. And the deck is probably going to be what? Wood? Because if I'm thinking of a pontoon.
Yeah, it's most likely going to be wood. So, I mean, he's going to have to beef up. He's going to have to, and that's one of the main reasons I'm glad you're here to say that, is because he's going to have to put some sort of beefy framing in here at least.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be the most difficult thing to do.
Just an aluminum I-beam though, right?
Or something. Yeah, I'd say aluminum I-beam, but what kind of clearance do we have from the top of the not sure if you just know this by chance, but from the top of the pontoon to the deck attachment, like how thick is the deck attachment? Because it's got its own little floor frames there for the pontoon
Those
boat
things,
itself.
those things literally,
It's
because
like angle iron, right?
when I took this one apart, they're about that big.
Okay.
Like there's not much size to them. They're that big, but they're square tubing.
Square tubing.
So
Because you could reinforce it with aluminum angle.
Yeah.
On either side of just the one that's closest to where you plan to attach it, and that way you can come, especially if it's near the front corners, then you can come and actually put in some aluminum angle down in through your deck and through bolt it to this beefed up aluminum tube that you've reinforced with other angles.
Yeah.
So that would probably be a functional approach, making sure that you got at least one connection at 3 points. So 3 points of connection. That'll keep it from trying to detach.
when you say 3 points of connection, you're talking for each sleeve.
Yes. Yeah, like kind of 3 points around. So if we're looking at it from above, something like that's the corner of the boat with the pontoon underneath it. Okay. And then you'll have, if your sleeve is here, okay, you can come off it in this direction.
Okay.
Attaching to this outer frame, this outer angle. So that's your angle iron, I guess, like this. I say angle iron, it's aluminum.
Yeah. It's a knee.
Yes. And then your other direction as well to this edge. Okay. Might be good with 2 if possible, coming down with a 3rd, but I'm not sure. I haven't really thought that through yet. I'm not sure how we would get that. But as long as we have it attached nice and thoroughly the same way you kind of do back here on your rear spud.
Yeah, with these little fins I got back here.
Yeah, that would be good just to keep it connected so you don't topple it over.
And I'm just going to walk back here so everyone can see what he's talking about. You need these fins to offer support to it when it's under load. So that's what he's talking about, is those. Make it look like a rocket ship. And I know you're going to have to run calculations to figure out what size that stuff needs to be, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't believe.
We need to know a lot more before we can say definitively what everything is.
Heath doesn't believe in wild ass guesses. And Tim, I think we already answered your question with, will the pontoon support all that structure? The framing for the pontoon is going to need to be beefed up. I mean, the pontoons really aren't at that point carrying much of the load. It's all just the frame for the vessel itself. So I think we already answered that question there, but I still hear the gears turning with Heath over here. So what else are you looking at?
I have to think about it a lot more, but I mean, for just a rough start, that seems good.
Okay.
What about you? What were you thinking?
I don't know. Like I think that's, for me, that works. I know, like weight wise, we're going to be adding weight to the vessel doing that.
Yeah.
What kind of weight do you think those winches need to be rated at? Like talking about like a boat lift.
So
would you just do like a 5,000 pound or 6,000 pound lift?
Yeah. Do you have an idea of how heavy the boat is?
Like I said, that boat's 1,500, 2,000 pounds total.
That's it? Okay. Well, yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, we could
It might be a little heavier. I mean, but it's a 16-foot pontoon, no frills on it.
Yeah, that would be a.
I mean, Alfred is like 6'5", is what he tells everyone, and jacked. 6'5", 250 jacked. Mm-hmm. He's not. Love you, Alfred. Not.
Yeah, that would be a good start. I'd like to see what's on the market though, and see what they're rated for, and then kind of do an actual no-shit assessment of what we're going to purchase to add to the boat, and then how much of that weight gets added in total. I mean, I could see us adding an extra, this total being an extra 300 to 500 pounds. So kind of like having 4 or 5 extra adults on the boat.
Yeah.
And I know you can only load a pontoon so much. So
Yeah, I mean, that's you saw this thing when it was on a pontoon, but it was a freaking nightmare.
Yep.
But yeah, I what he's trying to do is really cool.
yeah, it'd be fun. Fun to see.
But
I'd like to get his thoughts too, to make sure that this kind of matches what he had in his mind.
Mhm.
So I know he's brainstormed it in some way.
yeah. So, like I said, I think we got a nice little starting ground for him as to where he needs to go from here. But do want to light another one of
You're
these.
going to go and light more flares.
I think so. I think so.
Already.
But what are you gonna do? You done for the day?
We'll grab another beer.
You gonna come hang out with another beer?
Yeah, I'll come hang out.
Oh, that one up. Maybe not. That one just kind of went nowhere. Nope. That one did nothing. So let me run in here, hang out with y'all for a second while Heath grabs himself a beer, and see what y'all's comments are in the comment section. It didn't switch over to 3. Now we're here. Now we're here. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna overload the boat's ability to float. I think he should be fine. We'll look at the weight, but I mean, like he said, it's really just going to add the weight of a few more grown men. So, I mean, it's not going to be a day cruiser that he's taking out, hanging out with the wife and kids. His realtor wife's going to have to sell a couple more houses, make a little bit more commission, and buy a different pontoon. I don't think the pontoon is his day cruiser anyways. So, yeah, that is a very valid point. But no, I don't think that's going to mess that up. And then, Brandon, you're exactly right. The deck will end up coming off. You'll put the subframing down, tighten everything up, put the deck back down, and go from there. Any other way, you're undermining the strength of all the work you're doing. And yeah, it's just sorry. ADD's kicking in. I found this thing at the house, and I've been playing with it all day. So, yeah, Alex, good to see you. Today's going great. Glad to see it's going great there. Like I said, we're just we're hanging out. Heath just kind of went through all this stuff right now to help figure out some of the questions that we'll need for Alfred. Alfred, I guess, has a real chit show unfolding and developing right now at Black Point. There is a truck in the water, so he wasn't able to hop on here. He had to focus on that. But yeah, we got a lot going here, getting this figured out for Alfred, and then now we're just waiting on the tide. The tide is coming back in. Let me show you back there. The tide is coming in. But we still got several hours before we can get out of here. So we're just here relaxing at the moment. I'll have to start running some stuff back to the house, get that freaking whiteboard out of here. school's no longer in session. So we'll get that whiteboard out of here and start getting the boat to get underway. But yeah, I mean, the only other major question that they had was in regards to just the buoyancy, the overall buoyancy, and that rigging taking away buoyancy from the pontoon. But like you said, I think it's just going to be the weight of a few more dudes on there.
Yeah, you reduce your occupancy by 3 or 4 people, I would say.
Yeah, you're reducing your occupancy. That's a great way of putting it, Mr. Engineer. Should have had you come out here with the hard hat and everything.
Which is hard hat. I don't wear it at work. You don't wear this.
But yeah, I think that's about all we have for this one. Right now, like I said, it's just a matter of getting some things figured out, tied down on the boat, and then waiting on the tide. So let me go ahead and get some things done, and I'll tune back in here shortly. But thanks for hanging out. I'll see you here in a little bit.